Hello and thank you for joining me. It's quite an exciting day for me today. It's the first day of the summer break, kind of like school holidays. And I'm not excited because I've got kids at home because my children are grown up, they're adults, and two of them don't even live with me anymore. But it means that I get some quiet time because I'm a teacher. So it's actually now really quiet. I get to have a bit of a break and I get to do my favourite thing, that's crafting. And in November, I've got a craft fair coming up and I'm starting to think about all of those little things that I want to make for my craft fair. And I think what's important is to have a big range of things for people to look at, but also to keep costs really low. So this project here isn't a new concept or anything. I don't want to start saying, oh, I've invented this. I absolutely haven't. But there are elements of this that that I've thought about, and I like to find something nice and cheap in the shop and then create a box to go around it. So what I bought was, let's just try and squeeze that open there so that come out, is a wax melt. That was 60p. Smells absolutely gorgeous, even though it's still wrapped in cellophane. It smells lovely. And so I thought, well, I wanted to create a no glue box. I get a bit fed up with glue. I like to do something really nice and easy. So I've got our new glitter ribbon here. I've used the Perennial Essence DSP, and I've created this no glue box. I have done this before. They are all over, blogs and Pinterest and everything. So I think knew about this concept, but I was just thinking about how I could decorate that. So created that box. I'll show you how I'll do it in a minute. And I made sure that it was 2.5 inches wide in order to be able to fit that in snugly. That's the important thing about this particular project. When it is no glue, your project's going to fit snug. So that sits in there. And then for this particular one, I decided to fold this over. Different ways in which you can do this. I will get onto the project in a minute if you're thinking, can you just get on with it? And it just ties together at the top. So I just put a little circle hole at the top, put the ribbon through there like that. You could hang that from a Christmas tree if you wanted to, if you did it in Christmas paper, obviously. And then that sits in there. That wax melt is going nowhere. Shaking that quite vigorously, that's going nowhere. The other thing that you might want to hold that together with, if you didn't want to put a hole in the top of it, I also put a tag on there, just threaded that through. Oh, now that won't come off. The other way that you could hold it together, if you didn't want to put a hole in the top, is just something similar like that. I just found that the ribbon just felt a bit more secure. The other way that you can do this is make this with cardstock and then stick DSP on it. Makes it a little bit firmer. Cardstock is usually slightly thicker than DSP. And then you could actually, rather than having this fold down bit, you could then just decorate your cardstock. It's, entirely up to you, whatever you want to do. It's quite versatile, this particular project. So that's using Perennial Essence. That's how it all opens up. That's just how easy that is. It's just score lines and a piece of paper, DSP I've got here, that's 9.25 by 4. So for this particular project that I want to show you how to make it, I've got a piece of Sia silhouette, and I wanted to do the same thing where I'm going to fold it over. I've just got something on the, that's a nice contrast to that. So we're going to do that. You could use Christmas paper. I don't have any Christmas paper at the moment. We do have a new Christmas catalogue coming out very, very soon. Demonstrators will be able to see it. When will they be able to see it? 1st of August. And then customers will be able to order from the 1st of September. But I don't even want to mention Christmas yet. It's way too soon. Way, way, way too soon. So I'm going to get a piece of, I did intend to have this cut and scored beforehand, but I didn't. So this is going to measure 9.25. Now, one thing I will say, if you're making this with any particular direction to the paper, just be aware of where the pattern is. It's best to have a random pattern or a pattern that's the same that way or that way. Let me show you what I mean by that. So when I'm mucking about with prototypes and things, I just get some old DSP. And this was something that we had in the Forever Lovely sweet for celebration. So I didn't do this deliberately. Well, I did do it deliberately. I didn't make a mistake. I just wanted to do it so I could demonstrate, you know, how that works. So I love that heart paper, but for this particular project, not going to work, because great that side, upside down that side. So be aware of that when you're making something like this. Just always go for something that is the same both ways. And it just saves you having to sit there thinking, right, which way is this going to go? So there is our paper, 4 inches in width, 9.5 inches in length. So I need to get my scoreboard. So on the short side, you are going to score at 3/4 of an inch. And you are going to score at 3 1/4. So they give us our kind of folds that are coming in. Turn it to the long side. You are going to score at 1/2 inch. You're going to score at 4 1/4. 5 and 8 3/4. I'll do a blog post on this so that you can see all of the measurements. But hopefully I've done that slow enough for you to pick those up. So on the long side, 1/2 inch, 4 1/4, 5, 8 3/4. Okay, and then on the short side, 3/4 and 3 1/4. But there will be a blog post for this. I'll leave the link in the description bar. Now we have to do something a bit clever with our, we just need to make a little mark 3/4 of an inch either side of this. So we've got these middle score lines. So we need to put a score line 3/4 of an inch that way. So that's at 5. So at 5 3/4, just a tiny little mark so you can see that. And then you want one this way as well, so that's at 3 1/2. So just a small mark at 3 1/2, and then another one at 5 3/4. Flip your paper around and do exactly the same. So at 3 1/2, little mark, and at 5 3/4, a little mark there. And what we're going to do is join those lines up. I'm not going to be able to see them. And I've got the light shining on this. There it is. So with your scorer, you're going to join that. You've got 2 lines. So there are your 2 middle lines. So this line crosses then with that first score line there. You want to join that mark to where those 2 lines cross. It can be really tricky to find it, so take your time. It's important that you get that as bang on as you possibly can. I'm going to do the same with that one and join that to that little mark that you made. So there's your 2 middle score lines. That's where those score lines meet. And then you're going to take a diagonal line from here outwards to those 2 marks that you made. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. And that really is the only complicated bit about it. Now, at this point, if you've made this in DSP, you can then put some DSP just in those rectangles there. And you would want to do that probably 2 1/4 by what are we going to do that by 4? So 2 1/4 by 4, and you can put those in those panels there. It does depend if you're doing a fold over thing. It's entirely up to you. So with your bone folder, you're now going to start burnishing these score lines. So looking at the top, you've got this narrow rectangle there, and you're going to fold that one outwards. You want these creases to be really, really well burnished. just it helps it all fold together. So bring those over like that. And then these, the rest of them, fold inwards. Nice, nice sharp creases. And then the same with that one. Nice sharp creases. Just be careful not to damage your paper. And then you're going to just put these score lines in here. It's best to do it once those are all, the other folds are already in, because that then gets a bit thick and you want to be able to make sure that that all folds together nicely. So there we have that bit. So that is the main body of our box. So we've got a nice kind of, I don't know what you call that, it's like a bit of a collar, isn't it, folding over there. Okay, but now we need to deal with these in here. So you've got these diagonal score lines coming in here, and they're going to fold inwards. So what I do is I push that back like that to that score line. I'm going to get my bone folder and then just burnish it like that. And I'm going to do the same with this one, so it folds inwards. And then just burnish it like that, and the same on the other side, so it pushes inwards. And just burnish that, and then one last one, so it pushes inwards, and then that just forms that right angle there, and you just give it a bit of a push. So what you're left with is then that you can actually hold on to those two kind of inner bits there, and then when it all pushes together, it then forms, if you can see that, the base, so that that melts when it goes in there. It's actually held in, that it's not going anywhere. Okay, so that's how we do that. Now you can make this any width. You just take the width of that first, and then you just add the extra onto it. And this measurement here is the same as the depth of your melt, or whatever it is that you're putting in there. I've made boxes like this that have got kind of like those fun size sweet bars that go in there. So you know, you can play about with the measurements. I think at some point it might just get too big and it won't work. The other thing you can do, if you prefer that glued, then you might actually want to put some glue in there and just glue that together. Now I did try that. I just found it really fiddly. I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to crafting, and I just found it too fiddly. Now I'm going to do this one. So you could go there, sorry, change my what I'm going to say. From that, you could then put that on there. Job done. So you could stop there if you wanted to. With this one, I'm actually going to put a hole. So let's take that melt out. And I've just got this kicking about. It's just a small single hole punch. And now you can make a mark halfway over if you like, and then put that in there and at the halfway mark, or you can just eyeball it. Entirely up to you. What you must make sure though is that everything there is together and even. So eyeball where the middle is. Look at where that hole comes in. And there we have a hole. Probably could have done with that being a bit higher up. So what I want to put with this, so I used, for this one that I've now taken apart, I use this lovely black glitter ribbon. Absolutely love this. I don't know if you can see that. That's glittering. See if I can get the sun to catch that. I love that. I do like crafting with black because I think it gives a really nice contrast. Not everybody likes it. Let me see if I can put that up against some white to show you how glittery that is. You can see the glitter in there. Anyway, for this project, slightly different piece of ribbon. I've got the, I don't know if it's you know, an exact match, but I think that will do. So this is the reversible ribbon, in the Pretty Peacock colours. And I'm just going to cut a length of that off. And then what I'll be doing is just folding it in half, like that. And then just feeding it through that hole. Pushing the loop through and that. But before I do that, I want to show you what I'm going to do with a tag. And I'm just because I've got white in here, I'm just going to use some Whisper White for just for a tag. Now I've got a piece of white cardstock here. This is Whisper White, 2 inches by 3 inches, and I'm just going to put a very simple sentiment on this. So I've just got some Memento black. Use any colour. Probably some Night of Navy or maybe some Old Olive or something would go nice on that, or even the Pretty Peacock. I'm going to stick with black for now because that's what I've got to hand. It would depend what colours you've got. So this sentiment comes from the Beautiful Bouquet stamp set, which I've got here. I've had this one quite a while. Oops, and it all falls out. And they've just got lovely sentiments on there and some flowers and bows and leaves and things as well. So that's quite versatile, that stamp set. And let's just stamp that on there, not too far to the top, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm just going to stamp that on there. Wishing you a day of love and happy memories. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a birthday, that could be anything. Now you could, if you wanted to, just round those corners off. I'll do that in a second. But I've got the scallop tag topper punch. I love this punch. This is great if you want to make your own gift tags. And it's got this scallop design there. And you just feed your card through there. And I'm going to try not to touch it just in case that ink's still a little bit wet. Punch. And there we have that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now I'm just going to round off those corners. I have got the detail trio punch, which rounds them off, but for the time being, I'm going to use my envelope punch board, which I'm just so sad this is retired. I'm hoping that there will be an alternative coming out soon, but I use it just to round my corners off. I don't like to use things that aren't that are no longer available, but some of you might have that. So there's my tag. Let's put this together. So there's my little box. I'm just going to put my melt in there. Lost my ribbon. So fold it in half. No, I'm not. Just going to put that through there first. Oh, what am I doing? It's a bit early in the day for me, this, to try and work out what I'm doing with ribbon. Is that right? Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Poke that through there. Yeah, that is right. So you've got your tag on one of them, on that side. Turn it round and it's nice and plain so people can actually appreciate the paper. And there you have a little gift. You know, if you're just looking at small gifts to give to people, teacher gifts, these are nice for that. Or just small gifts that you want to give to somebody just to show that you appreciate them. There you have it. They can hang from a tree if you're going to make them Christmas paper. Wouldn't make their gift too heavy. But just to show you, there's no glue in this, but that melt's going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So I hope you like that little tutorial. I've got another one coming along soon, so please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.